welcome into Two Ball Guys on the Right. This is the New Mexico edition. We remind you to please subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about the channel. And please don't forget to hit that little ding, 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 ding notification bell. That way you know exactly what is going on and when we're coming on. Monday, we do a national show. Thursday, we're doing a New Mexico show. Please, we encourage you to subscribe because that's the only way we can continue doing what we're doing. So please subscribe.
For sure. No, we appreciate it.
Yeah, please don't make us beg because if we have to, we will. And it's not a pretty sight. It's just not a pretty sight. So please,
not pretty at all.
Please subscribe. We got a lot of craziness going on in New Mexico. We've got 10 days left to the session. Crazy thing about being, we got crunch time now, but the Senate took off more than 10 days. I think it's closer to 20 days off during a 60-day session and blamed it on the coronavirus.
Oh, I'm sure. So they've asked to be paid now. So what are we going to do if we start paying them? Are they going to actually work more, or are they going to take off the same amount of days?
Well, it would be a full-time job at that point. And here's the problem that a lot of people are against paying these guys. Look, they do get paid a per diem, and it covers the cost of lodging and meals. But nobody's making money off of this. Nobody is making any money off of this. I think they get paid $170 a day for every day they're up there in Santa Fe. Well, in this case, if they're sitting at home and doing Zoom meetings like most Democrats are doing, they're still collecting the same amount of money, but not having to spend that money on hotels and meals and so on and so forth. I just think that's a bad plan. But I think right now we get a certain amount of people that are financially independent that go to Santa Fe to service. Now, think about this. If we had people that actually were doing it in place of doing their normal everyday job, then maybe we get some different people running for office. So, I mean, there's two ways to think about this. I mean, in Texas, they get paid. Arizona, they get paid. I think there ain't not really that many states that don't get paid. So I'll look at it from both angles, and maybe we get a different people running if they did get paid, because right now they've got bills to make, and they can't give up their full-time job.
I'll give you that. Maybe some better candidates running. But not to say that our Southeast New Mexico people are great though.
No, we've got good people. We got good people, and we'll hear from Greg Nibert, who is a attorney and can take off and do a 30 or 60-day session. And Jim Townsend is retired at this point, so he has the ability. Cliff Pirtle, works for his family farm, so somebody else will pick up the slack while he's gone. And, so we got a group of good people. And, but if they got paid, maybe we'd have different people that were able to run. Because right now, a lot of people can't do it because they have responsibilities.
Where I care about is up north, so we can maybe get some of those Democrats out of those seats.
Maybe. I have noticed that up north, we have way too many attorneys and are actually... Yeah, and I think they are part of the problem. And I'll get into the whole deal about qualified immunity and that type of stuff. Who's going to make the money off of that? Attorneys. So we'll get to that. Our buddy Couy Griffin. Look, our morning show was the first. By the way, you can go and check out our morning show, Be in the Breakfast Club. It's on YouTube. If you could subscribe, that would be great. Couy Griffin, we were the first news outlet that Couy was actually on. And when he started Cowboys for Trump, this is even before when he, started Cowboys for Trump. But Couy Griffin today pled. It was a virtual hearing, by the way. He didn't have to go back to Washington, D.C., but he appeared virtually during the arraignment and pled not guilty to 2 counts. He's hoping for a plea deal. And so he's been charged with being in a restricted area and disorderly conduct. Now, both of those charges are, if I'm not mistaken, misdemeanors.
Well, now being in the restricted area, there may be something to that. I don't know how they can. I mean, I definitely would plead not guilty to anything else. But I mean, if he was up on the steps, and technically that was a restricted area, but I know that a lot of the people that were allowed to walk through the gate up to that point, how did they know that they weren't supposed to?
I got to say, I don't know if our government really wants to take this to a jury trial. And I'll tell you the reason why. There are hundreds of videos out there of police officers moving the barricade and actually waving them on in. Yep. So I think once that would appear in court, how could you hold somebody in being a restricted area? Because you got law enforcement going,
yeah.
How are you supposed to know one way or another? So Couy Griffin's legal team said they want a plea deal. The government at this point says they don't know if they haven't determined if that is suitable in this case. You remember they wouldn't let him out of jail. They wouldn't let him out of jail because they thought he was a threat. And I'm
right.
like,
well, and it was all politics. It was all politics. Now, I'll be the first to say, Couy, you're right. Like you said, Couy's a friend. And to those of you, there's a lot of people in Otero County that are fans of Couy, and a lot of people that aren't. If you've ever met the man,
a bunch of haters.
You know that he's a good guy, and you know that sometimes his mouth gets the better of him, and he says things that he probably shouldn't say.
He wrote a check he couldn't cash.
Yeah, and you know what? Who among us haven't done that? He just happened to have video cameras running when he said some stupid stuff or said some stuff that maybe wasn't politically correct, and has been crucified for it. But overall,
he's got somebody.
No, and he's got the right. He's got Southeast New Mexico and Southern New Mexico and New Mexico and period at his heart, and he's an American. And I don't think
did he at least shoot somebody? Did he shoot somebody?
No, he's never shot anybody. He's made some comments that he shouldn't have made.
Has he ever been arrested before? No. Oh,
no,
but he's
other than at the Capitol, other than being up on the steps of the Capitol, as he was part of the rally. He was part of Trump's rally there. And he didn't go inside the Capitol. He didn't break in.
Right.
He didn't encourage any violence.
Now, let me get this right, Will. The Antifa guy, Black Lives Matters guy, that actually got paid for the footage he shot inside the Capitol.
The one that was saying, let's burn this MFer down.
Let's burn this mother down. Sounds like a 80s song by Parliament. But he's out. He's out. He's not a threat.
Not only is he out, I don't think he had any significant charges. He actually made it inside. He sold this footage. There's proof of what he said on tape.
He broke windows.
He broke windows. Property. He encouraged them to destroy property, and yet he got out immediately. And Couy, who did none of the above, just was on the steps.
Scapegoat.
Yeah.
Scapegoat.
Well, but the difference is the politics.
Right.
Now, if the guy from Antifa had been a guy from the Proud Boys, they'd have crucified him.
Oh, they would have. Yeah. Oh, you darn right they would have. But they're using this guy, Couy Griffin, as they're using him as a weapon against any other groups that get out there and speak out. So it's crazy. Because I'll go back. Did he kill somebody? Did he shoot somebody? No, he said some things.
Did he assault anybody? Did he punch anybody in the face? Did he push past someone in a mean manner?
Did he burn a building down?
Did he scream at the top of his lungs some negative, racist, insensitive, or an insurrectionist-like comments? No.
Yeah, but he didn't burn a building down or anything, huh? Because maybe if he'd looted and burned, then Kamala Harris, the vice president of the United States, would have let him out. She'd have even paid his bond.
Oh, yeah.
LeBron James would have been there. Here's your money. Get on out of here.
Yeah,
So, good news is schools are open in New Mexico. You've got 2 kids in school, and it's been almost an entire year since our little ones have been back in school. But New Mexico PED Department Secretary Ryan Stewart announced on Monday that there is a new bell ringing in New Mexico and the schools are going to be open. It was also announced that high school football games would allow fans. They kind of did that in some areas, but they are going to allow them to come up and be at the games this coming Friday. And yes, for those that are watching from a different state, we're playing 4 games for the kids that didn't have the opportunity to play football. I know it's
some
only
of them,
4 games,
some
but
of
it's
them
better
get
than
4
any.
games. Some of them it's only 3.
Right. So,
but the different counties. Well, of course, we just had the whole red, yellow, green, turquoise county color code thing come out.
Boy, we really need to.
We had 7 counties in turquoise, which is good news. None of ours down here in the south, but all of ours in the southeast part are either green or yellow now. And
Can we be done with this?
Congratulations to Lee County who made it to green, and congratulations to Eddy and Otero County who made it to yellow. And both of them get to have restaurants and indoor dining. Oh, the whole thing is stupid. But at the very least, all I care about is our restaurants and our businesses being able to actually open up and being able to have kiddos in the stands in Otero County, which my kiddo is playing football. And so now I actually get to go watch him play in Alamogordo and play with the Tigers.
Hey, Governor, I don't know if you know this, but people that were in a red district would just drive to the yellow color county and eat and shop and all of that stuff. So,
I know. The whole thing is stupid.
The whole thing is just ludicrous.
What about when the state was completely shuttered? Like, we didn't drive 20 minutes across the border to Texas and go shop.
I haven't missed. I think I've missed maybe 1 or 2 weekends where I didn't go to Texas for something. That is what it is. So schools have until April 5th that is the deadline for school districts to get on board with in-person learning. I know Albuquerque, for one, is one of those districts that were like, oh, no, we're not going back to school. Teachers are not going back to school. They're scared of the corona. Well, go get the vaccine. If you're that damn scared, you got 2 choices. And thank God I'm not the governor or the secretary of PD, because this is the way I'd handle it. You got 2 choices. You go get the vaccine, or you start looking for another job. Because your job is to teach kids. Get your ass back in school. Sorry, done. But that's why I'm not in politics, because I ain't got time for that type of stuff. Our buddy Jim Townsend, he is the minority House leader, talks about opening up the state. Now we've got most of the schools opening back up, some of the state up, but not all. Jim wants them all open back up. Here's what he had to say earlier this week.
I have taken a point of personal privilege every morning for the last 10 days and have stood up on the House floor and talked about the cost of keeping our schools closed and our businesses closed. And so I'm hopeful that that is just the beginning and that we completely open our businesses.
I think we need to. Jim goes on to say about the state being closed. Yeah, it's bad enough that we have businesses closed, but we have state workers that are working from home in their pajamas. Here's what Jim had to say about that.
Now, there's so many darned offices within the state that are closed. I mean, motor vehicle,
health goodness,
department. I mean, they're all just taking messages every day.
Jim also went on to talk about the mask mandate and saying, when they're on the House floor, they have plexiglass masks and on and on and on. And then everybody walks out and goes to their nearest restaurant and they forget about the mask, I guess. Here's what he had to say.
We all wear a mask and we try to stay, we have plexiglass in between each of our desks on the floor. And at 5 o'clock when the bells ring, we jerk our mask off. We go hand in hand down to the Bull Ring or some other restaurant. We sit at the same tables. We eat dinner together. We, we shake hands. We hug each other's wife. We enjoy each other's company. And then we go back in there and we put our masks on. We're kind of like the coyote and sheepdog.
Unbelievable. So Jim Townsend. Yeah, it talks about the, the crazy thing is half these legislators are doing their meetings at home on Zoom because they're scared of the coronavirus. Or maybe they're just banking the per diem that they're being paid. Anybody ever thought about that? Maybe that should be investigated. All right, probably one of the worst bills that they could possibly pass, and we've had a handful of them. This year, we passed a bill, abortion, and the abortion bill passed. And then the suicide bill passed, where somebody has a right to take somebody's life if they are terminally ill. And but another bill that I think is going to desperately, it's going to hurt the state. It's going to hurt the state bad. And we have a shortage of police officers in this state, and now they can be held accountable for their actions while performing their job. Criminals will be able to sue them right off the bat. Other part of this would be, it would eliminate immunity for police, and it would also it would also bring in all kinds of stuff like racial discrimination. We already have laws against racial discrimination. It was a 5-4 vote. A Senate committee met. Now it goes to the full Senate. By the way, Michelle Lujan Gresham says that she will pass this. Can you imagine the price of insurance? Most police officers and people that are in the insurance business saying this is crazy. The rates for police officers, are they going to have to go out and get like malpractice insurance like doctors get? This is going to be crazy. Farmington Police Chief Steve Heebs said that legislation they could take that money and invest in training for law enforcement instead of doing what they are doing. It's kind of crazy. Claire Chase was on with us a couple weeks ago. She talks about New Mexico oil and gas. And Claire, by the way, the first thing that we'll notice about Claire is that this picture, her hair is a little darker than it has been before. Is that the first thing you'll notice?
Well, I've never seen her as a brunette.
And, I asked her, and I didn't record this part. I told her that her husband, Chance, I had posted on his Facebook that he could possibly be the first husband of the
first
state.
Husband of New Mexico.
Yeah, and he kind of laughed about it. I don't know if she has. Somebody needs to throw their hat in the ring. We're 21 months away from the election to defeat Michelle Lujan Gresham. And where are we today? We have zero candidates that have thrown their hat into the ring. I think it's very important that the Republican Party of New Mexico find some candidates and start working on this. I think right now there's a lot of people that are really ticked off at Michelle Lujan Gresham for closing down the state. Even though I read on her social media page, "Thank you, Governor, for keeping us safe." Oh, my goodness, thank you. If it wouldn't be for you and that cup at Taco Bell that I put my card into, I would probably be here. I have never needed the government to keep me safe. In fact, I'm a less government type of guy, not a more government type of guy. But Claire talks about oil and gas. And there's an anti-fracking bill that I thought was going to die in committee, but it moved on. Here's what Claire has to say about the anti-fracking community.
It would put the governor in a really tough position. I have to imagine that Senator Wirth and Speaker Egoff would not want to put the governor in that position.
So think about this. 43% of the state budget would disappear. That would not be good for the governor. Look, I understand the federal government just gave us, what was it, $9 billion? $9 billion. And instead of giving the money to small businesses, they're going to allow the governor to hand that money out. I don't know if I like that idea. But
I know I don't.
Claire Chase talks about where would we be? Where would we be without the oil and gas industry in New Mexico?
Essentially basic math, that without, 40% of the state general funds, you're going to have to figure out how to either cut back by 40% or find a way to make that up. And, by the way, the renewable formula does not work.
She also goes on to talk about, it's not easy doing business in New Mexico in the oil and gas industry.
The policies that the federal government are putting in place, as well as what we're fighting at the state level, are going to make it significantly harder for us to continue drilling in the state of New Mexico.
So I don't know how you take away 43% of the budget. How do you recoup that money? And look, I know marijuana passed, but oil and gas industry produces about $2 billion plus a year. At best case scenario, recreational marijuana is only going to produce about $100 million. There's a big difference between the billions and the millions. There's a big difference. It's a huge difference. New bill would grant parole eligibility to juveniles convicted of serious crimes. Now, we had this come up earlier this year with the young man from Albuquerque. Is it Jeremiah or Nehemiah Griegos? Killed his entire family and was getting ready to get out. Now, they went back and said he would have to wait till he's 21. He's still going to serve time as a juvenile up until the age of 21. Once he reaches 21, we'll see where that's going to go. But this bill would change the parole eligibility for minors moving forward to the Senate. So it's already passed through the House. The bill is Senate Bill 247. Minors found guilty of serious crimes would be eligible for parole earlier than the criminal sentences of adults. So they would not transfer over to court for these juveniles. And we've got a terrible problem in New Mexico because we've got juveniles. It was just a couple days ago that we had a 12-year-old that did 3 drive-by shootings. We've got a terrible problem where these juveniles are slapped on the face or on the hand,
the wrist. Yeah.
And then the rest is history. And they do the works of the drug cartels and the gangs because they know they're going to get slapped on the wrist. It's actually kind of sad. There's a bill out there right now. I think you've heard about this. We talked a little bit about it this morning. Every premium you buy, you have car insurance, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got home insurance?
I do.
You have health insurance?
I do.
So every policy that is written, they are going to put a tax on it to pay for low-income families having insurance. Now, this bill is sponsored by 2 Democrats, including Javier Martinez and Debbie Armstrong, and this would go a little bit further than the Affordable Care Act. It would put a surtax on your premiums to pay. And Greg Nibert I had no idea the number was so high. My question was, don't we already have Medicaid? I think we already have Medicaid. Here's what Greg Nibert had to say about that.
That's one of many bills. We do have Medicaid to try to take care of some of that, but you realize over 50% of New Mexicans are on Medicaid, and so we have a real problem in the state.
Wow.
If you see the percentage of the state budget that is going to Medicaid, it's risen from I think around 5% to about 14% or more today.
So did he just say, Will, that 50% of residents in the state of New Mexico are on Medicaid?
Wow.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It's incredible.
By the way, they report 23,000 uninsured New Mexicans would gain insurance. So we're gonna make all the hardware. This is another tax that you won't see, but it is a tax, along with the gas tax and all kind of other things. It's kind of crazy. Greg Nibert also goes on to talk about what we really need in New Mexico. Can we say tax reform? I think I just said it.
It really cries out for real tax reform in New Mexico if we want to be competitive with our adjoining states and if we want to attract business to New Mexico.
Also asked Representative Nibert about one positive thing that is going on during this session. Here's what he had to say.
Moving forward on the legislation, we're not sitting on pins and needles that we sat on last time. We're not feeling like we're getting whacked upside the head every time we turn around. There haven't been any great surprises.
So there have been some positive things. The other thing that I think is going on in Santa Fe, you got some Democrats that aren't happy with the governor, too. This is why it's so important that the Republican Party of New Mexico get their stuff together and get us a candidate to run for governor so we can take down MLG.
Exactly.
I think that would be very, very important. By the way, I forgot to mention it when we're talking about oil and gas and fracking. We've got a website you can go to that you could sign up. If you're an advocate for the oil and gas industry, you're okay with fracking, we'll give that address, please.
Yeah, it's yourfrackingwelcome.com. Yeah, just YOURE, fracking, FRACKING, welcome, WELCOME.com, yourfrackingwelcome.com. Because, the Democrats are never going to say thank you for all that money we send to Santa Fe for fracking. They're never going to say thank you. So we're just going to say you're fracking welcome on their behalf. So you're frackingwelcome.com. It'll help out not only in Santa Fe, but on the national level, too.
So please go to that website. It is it's not going to cost you anything to sign up. Please support the oil and gas industry. And you know what? Even if you don't work in the oil and gas industry, I want you to think about this. 43% of the budget.
Yep.
All right, we got butts in the stands for high school athletics, and they also announced this week that girls volleyball and indoor sports, they could have fans and indoor sports. But one group of individuals that have been left out is the Little League and the club sports and the traveling teams, and the list goes on and on. Diamond Sports Coalition is supportive of the New Mexico Activities Association getting ready to play, and they say, why can't we play? Why can't we be competitive on the field? These little ones have suffered probably worse than anybody else because they don't understand. They don't understand why they weren't in school. They don't understand why they can't be around their friends. So now we're going to take one more thing around it. And based on mental health and that type of stuff, let's let the kids play. We'll make whatever modifications that we got to make to appease the governor, but let the kids play. No reason. When we got the Isotopes playing in Albuquerque, when we had the United soccer team traveling all over during this entire pandemic, let the kids
Why would we have
play.
The kiddos that are the least at risk? I mean, and that age group is truly the least at risk, even less than high school kids, even less than college kids, and yet we're not going to allow them to play?
Unbelievable. I'll say it again. I think this governor needs, I think she's tone deaf. I think she really needs to wake the heck up. All right, well, I'm going to ask this question. It's been 1 year since a lot of restaurants have been open and closed. It's a tough industry. I think it's 1 in 3 restaurants will close because it is a tough industry. It's tough finding people, and they've made it tougher and tougher to find good people. If I asked the question, how many restaurants have closed in New Mexico, what would be your answer?
Well, if I actually think I know the answer, but my original answer when I didn't know the answer was I would have said 1,000 or more.
Right. Now, some of these people, there might be more. There might be more because we probably don't know at this point. But 200 restaurants have closed during the pandemic, according to the New Mexico Restaurant Association. That's 200 businesses that will not be paying taxes. That's 200 businesses that will not be employing people. That's 200 businesses that you have killed off. And when I say you, I'm talking directly to the governor, of course. So
absolutely.
200.
Well,
200.
Not just went to indoor. Takeout only. They completely closed. They're shuttered their business for good.
They're done
forever. And there's a couple of big chains that have just decided they're not doing business in New Mexico because of this. Yeah,
they can't come back. They've decided they're not going to be able to come back. So thank you, Governor, for shutting down 200 tax-paying businesses that employ people. Hey, if you get a chance tonight, I would encourage you to please go to our YouTube channel And please do your best to subscribe to our channel. You know, a lot of people will watch the videos, and that's great. We appreciate that. But for us to monetize this channel, you have to be able to go and subscribe. It's one thing to have the watch hours. That's awesome. But we need 1,000 subscribers. So please let your friends know to subscribe today and hit the notification. Well, Will, where else can they check out the Two Bald Guys on the Right?
Don't forget, too, we're streaming audio versions on all the major platforms. You can go to Podbean and do it straight through there, or you can go to iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to a podcast. You can do a search for Two Bald Guys on the Right, and you'll find us right there on your favorite audio podcast, too. So if you can't watch us in the evening when we're streaming, you can turn around and record it some other time. And if you hear something about that we maybe referenced on a video somewhere, then just go back and watch it on YouTube some other time. That way you won't miss out on the video part of it. But we definitely stream everything audio version only on our podcast platform. So please check those out whenever you can. And yes, hit subscribe. And don't forget to, we stream 3 hours a day, each and every morning on Be in the Breakfast Club, Monday through Friday. And you can do a search for that site as well, Be in the Breakfast Club on YouTube, and subscribe and like that one as well. We would appreciate it.
God bless America. God bless you. We're crossing our fingers. You know, earlier in the session, these Democrats on the Senate side took off all this time. But the more I thought, I was kind of pissed off about it. But the more I thought about it, well, that's less damage they can do if they're not there.
Yeah. Amen.
True story.
When everything they do is bad, it's good not to happen there.
God bless you guys. You guys have a good night. We'll be back Monday with the national show of Two Bald Guys on the Right. Peace out.
Thanks so much.